So with that, how many of you were here for the 25th anniversary of the passing of Dr. Carr? Yeah. I have such great memories of that that was certainly part of the inspiration to do this again. So with no further ado, it's Doc Ehrhart.
Thanks, Vince, and for all your help in planning this, Vince and Dean both. It's a great contribution they've made. So we've come together here today to commemorate and to celebrate the life of Professor Archie F. Carr and to honor his memory. I'm going to borrow a phrase from Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, and at least a part of a phrase that he used, and say that it is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this at this place and at this time. Fitting and proper, that is, based on the three salient considerations as I see it, the nexus of those three. The first is the empirical fact that we lost the founder of modern marine turtle conservation science, Florida's greatest naturalist, and a good and honorable man, exactly 30 years ago today, on the 21st of May. It is a tribute, I think, to his memory and a demonstration of the reverence and respect that we had for him, that each one of you has seen fit to take the time, expend the effort to be here today to join us to honor him. Secondly, we are met here within the boundaries of a great, relatively new National Wildlife Refuge named in Dr. Carr's honor and dedicated to the protection of marine turtle nesting habitat. What could be finer than that? It's my fault that we're meeting out here in all this wind. I kind of insisted on it. Better heads would have moved it indoors. I suppose this event could have been held at a number of other places. Gainesville, for example, comes to mind. But I hope you agree that it just seems, as Abe Lincoln said, fitting and proper that we should do it here on the beach of the Archie Carr National Wildlife Refuge. And regarding that, we have two separate messages from former Governor and Senator Bob Graham expressing his genuine regret at not being able to join us here for this get-together. He has a conflicting engagement in Gainesville tonight. You might know that it was Senator Graham who was instrumental in guiding the legislation that enabled and authorized the creation of the Archie Carr Refuge through the U.S. Congress. You might not know something that I just learned a very short time ago, and that is that it was Senator Graham who used his considerable influence to get the refuge named for Dr. Carr. That was not in the cards. It was not the original plan. Some of you might know that the Fish and Wildlife Service only rarely names a refuge after a person. Most names are geographic. Did you know, by the way, speaking of Dr. Graham, Senator Graham, that he actually took Dr. Carr's field ecology course back at University of Florida in the 50s when Graham was a pre-law undergraduate student. Also, Senator Graham visited Dr. Carr at Tortuguero on 3 separate occasions. Thirdly, the performance and recovery of the turtles themselves in Florida, and Florida as a whole, but here at the Carr Refuge especially. In 1982, what's that? 35 years ago, a ragtag gang of rapscallions came down here to this beach from UCF and began doing systematic, season-long nesting surveys and showing how much, in those days, loggerhead nesting there really was. And at that time, we observed in '82 32 green turtle nests on this 13-mile stretch of beach. Not long before that, a few years before that, David and Peggy Carr flew censuses of the Florida beach, of the Florida seaboard, and estimated 30 to 40 green turtle nests on the whole coastline. Remember, each turtle lays 5 or 6 nests, so we're talking about 6 or 7 individuals. We had every reason to believe that the green turtle would be extirpated in Florida by the end of the 20th century. But our conservation efforts began to pay off. The numbers began to rise. In 2015, now remember what I just said a minute ago, 32 nests on this 13-mile stretch of beach where we find ourselves today, 32. Summer of 2015, 12,905. Phenomenal, phenomenal. And when we started here in '82 and then made the counts through the decade of the '80s, the loggerheads, I've shifted to loggerheads now, the loggerheads were averaging 9,300 nests per year. In the recent 10 years, that number is up by 20%. And finally, when we started here, there was no leatherback nesting at all. In the first 15 years, virtually none. I do remember the night in 1983 when right over there on the beach, we encountered our first leatherback. If I had a good arm, I could throw a baseball from here to the spot on the beach where we encountered that turtle. First one in '83. We didn't see another one for 11 years until '94. There was virtually no leatherback nesting at all. But by '96, there were 10, and since then, the numbers have been rising, well, exponentially. Certainly they are still small and nothing like the thousands of green turtle and loggerhead nests, but the point is the trend is upward and positive. Somewhere, I think Dr. Carr is smiling. For these reasons then, the 3 that I gave to you, it seems, as Abe Lincoln said, altogether fitting and proper that we should honor Dr. Carr's memory at this time and at this place. It's really good to see all of you.